My father left a cryptic will. The final clue led me to a hidden treasure that changed everything I thought I knew about my family. When my father passed away, I expected his will to be straightforward. After all, he was a simple man, or at least that's what I'd always believed. My father was private, reserved, and never one to draw attention to himself. So, when the lawyer handed me a sealed envelope marked with my name and a cryptic message, I had no idea it would lead me down a path that would change my life forever. The will wasn't what I had imagined. Instead of distributing his modest assets, it was filled with a series of riddles, bizarre clues, and one final message. Asterisk, my greatest gift is buried beneath the weight of the past. If you want to find it, you'll need to go where the truth has always been hidden. Trust the tools I left behind. Asterisk, it sounded like something out of a mystery novel. I laughed at first, thinking it might be some sort of strange joke or elaborate scavenger hunt. But the tone of the letter didn't feel like my father's typical humor. It felt serious. Urgent even. For days, I pored over the few things he had left behind. Old journals, photo albums, and personal belongings. But nothing made sense. Every clue felt like a dead end, leading to another cryptic message or memory I couldn't quite place. I became obsessed, digging deeper into his life, uncovering secrets I never knew existed. It wasn't until I found an old family photograph, one of us at our secluded vacation cabin, that something clicked. My father had circled a small area in the background of the photo, a place in the woods behind the cabin. I had no memory of him ever taking me there, but the message was clear. The next step in this twisted game was hidden in those trees. Without hesitation, I packed up and drove to the cabin, the one place where my father always seemed to find peace. The air around the property felt different that day, heavier, as if the trees themselves were whispering old secrets. With a map and clues in hand, I ventured into the woods. I wandered for hours, retracing old paths and searching for something, anything, that would lead me to the next clue. But nothing seemed right. Frustrated, I sat down on a fallen log, staring at the map, wondering what I was missing. That's when I remembered something from the will. Asterisk, trust the tools I left behind. Asterisk, suddenly it hit me. My father had a hobby, one he loved but never talked much about, metal detecting. He had been fascinated by the idea of unearthing buried relics, and as a child, I'd watched him wander fields for hours with his trusty metal detector. I raced back to the cabin, hoping to find it. Sure enough, tucked away in a corner of the shed was his Garrett Ace 300 metal detector, gathering dust. It felt strange holding it again, like I was stepping into his shoes, retracing his steps. I powered it on, hearing the familiar hum, and returned to the woods, hopeful but uncertain. I walked slowly, sweeping the metal detector across the ground, listening intently for any sign of metal beneath the soil. For a long time, there was nothing. Just the soft beeping and the sound of leaves rustling in the wind. But then, as I neared a small clearing, the detector let out a sharp, continuous beep. My heart raced as I knelt down, hands shaking, and started digging. After a few minutes of clawing at the earth, I uncovered a rusted metal box, buried deep beneath the surface. My hands trembled as I wiped the dirt off, revealing an old padlock that had clearly not been touched in years. I forced it open, heart pounding with anticipation. Inside, I found a stack of letters tied with a faded ribbon, old documents, and something that looked like an antique key. The letters were addressed to my father from a woman named Eleanor, a name I had never heard before. With growing dread, I began to read. The letters told a story that shattered everything I thought I knew about my father. Eleanor had been his first love, long before he met my mother. They had been deeply involved, and their relationship had been passionate, but fraught with secrets. One letter in particular caught my eye, dated just a few months before I was born. In it, Eleanor spoke of a child, asterisk their asterisk child. My stomach dropped. Could it be? Had my father kept this woman, this life, a secret from my mother all those years? Was I the child Eleanor spoke of? Or was there someone else? I raced through the letters, each one more heartbreaking than the last. It was clear my father had struggled with his love for Eleanor, but ultimately left her when he met my mother. Yet Eleanor never stopped writing to him, pleading for answers, for closure, for him to acknowledge the child they had together. A child that was never mentioned again in any of the documents. The key I found unlocked a safe hidden in the cabin's basement. Inside, I found more than I could have imagined. Gold coins, rare artifacts, and a deed to a mysterious piece of land far away. My father had been amassing wealth in secret, hidden away from both Eleanor and my mother. It was a fortune no one knew existed, but it wasn't just the money that shocked me. It was the realization that my father had lived a double life, torn between two worlds. And now, I was left to unravel it all. I stood there, staring at the treasure, realizing that it wasn't the inheritance I had expected. It wasn't just wealth, it was the burden of his secrets, the tangled web of lies he had spun. And now, it was my responsibility to figure out what to do next. The journey to uncovering the truth had been long, winding, and full of unexpected twists. But one thing was clear, my father's cryptic will had led me to a life-changing discovery, one that would forever alter how I saw him, and myself. It's incredible to think how one small tool, like my father's old Garrett Ace 300 metal detector, helped me uncover these buried secrets. If you're ever looking to unearth your own mysteries, you can find it in the bio. The truth I found changed everything, but there's still more to uncover. Who was Eleanor? And could there be someone else out there, another piece of this puzzle? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, I will never look at my family or my life the same way again.